This video is sponsored by 247pay.net. Today I'm talking about the things that I did to get money back when I was really poor and was alone with a baby and didn't have any money and didn't even have a phone in my house. I'm going to talk about what I did and the things I did to create revenue for myself and get ahead of the game. This is my potato dish. It's a combination of potatoes, onions, eggs, olive oil, salt, and pepper, and it's delicious. Potatoes have the amount of protein similar to that in a glass of milk, and they have been a staple for many cultures for a very long time. And the lack of them has caused cultures to actually die. The Irish potato famine, which began back in 1845, was also known as the Great Hunger. A fungus-like organism called P. infestans spread quickly all over Ireland. The devastating infestation ruined up to 1/2 of the potato crop in 1845 and about 75% of the crop over the next 7 years. Irish farmers relied heavily on the potato as a source of food, and the infestation had a catastrophic impact on the entire population of Ireland. Roughly 1 million Irish died from starvation and related causes, and another million were forced to leave and become refugees when it finally ended in 1852. In this dish, I take a classic potato kugel and then I sprinkle it around the ribs and then I bake it. But today I'm going to cook it on top of the stove and then brown it in the oven. And I will pour all of the kugel mixture around this and let it cook. You need a heavy bottom pan for this. It'll work very well, and make sure your pan can go from the stove top into the oven. Let this cook covered for about an hour. In one of my recent videos, I talked about a time when I was really poor. I was separated from my husband. I had no phone except for the payphone around the corner at the grocery store. And I had a 10-month-old baby, and I really needed a job. And I ended up getting that job. But I knew that that job wasn't going to take me to where I needed to be. I was open at that time to a side hustle. I had began working on getting my real estate license again because I had let it lapse. So that was on my plate. And I also wanted to do something on the side, buy something and sell it. That's always something you can do in any economy and make money. I wanted to invest in the little side business. It was going to be $1,500 to buy inventory to do it. I didn't have money, had no one to turn to. So I started looking around, and I found a place that would give me a loan of $1,500, but I had to give them the pink slip to my truck. Now, my husband, we were separated going through divorce. He had given me a beat-up old truck when he left. I mean, this truck had been hit. It was repaired, but it wasn't done right. The back wheel was, wobbling when I drove. People would be waving to me all the time when I was driving and telling me, your wheel looks like it's going to come off. And I would just wave back and say, yeah, I know about this. They didn't care if the wheel was going to fall off. They didn't care if it had a wheel. They just wanted the pink slip. So I took a risk. I prayed. I had faith. And I got the loan. I bought the inventory. And I went into business. That's one way I started to pull myself out of the place that I was in, which was a very low financial place. I had nothing, literally, except that truck. And then I decided to give that truck up. It was a risk because it could be that I would not pay back that loan. I remember it wasn't maybe 3 months when I was able to go and pay that back and get the pink slip back. There was another time too, I remember the quickest thing that I knew of what to do, was to sell my jewelry. So I went to a pawn shop and sold my jewelry and got money. So I paid the pawn shop back, and then I got my jewelry back. And that wasn't the first time though. I would say that jewelry is something that I have bought and sold over my lifetime, and it has saved me. I can give you 2 other times when it saved me. And this is going through the cycles of life. And money is like this. Money is cyclical for everyone. This is why businesses plateau. This is why it's not like it used to be. This is why sometimes we have it a certain way and we lose it and we're chasing that one thing to try to get it back. That's why that happens, because that is life. Just like the seasons change, everything changes. And you do need to put money away for the future, etc. And you need to invest in things like that. But when you are in a place, when you just are barely making it, these are the things you do. There was a time in my 20s when I was selling real estate and my deals were stuck in government funding for 6 months. I didn't get a paycheck for 6 months. And at one point I couldn't pay my rent. And the owner of the building, he also lived in the building. It was at the beach in Long Beach on Ocean Boulevard in California. He said to me, "I'll give you a loan if you give me collateral." So I gave him my best jewelry and he gave me a loan of $2,000. And I think less than 30 days later, I paid him back. So I know that jewelry is an asset that you can invest in and use it. It's not something that you would normally hear, but when I look back on my life and over the years, yeah, it has gotten me out of a bad situation more than once. There was a time, let's see, how many years ago? I think a decade ago, when after a divorce, I was left with nothing except whatever I was creating at the time. And to go from being married to someone who's really wealthy to just being on your own and picking up all the pieces by yourself, it left me in a very precarious financial situation. I'll say it like that. At that time, I had kids in private school. I think my oldest daughter may have been out of the country in school, but I had a very heavy load financially. And one month I was short. Something happened in the business and things changed and they flipped, and I was going through a cycle. It was starting to drop. I was up really high for a very long time and then it dropped. So I took a Rolex that I had at the time down to the local, it wasn't a pawn shop. Well, it was located in a very nice area. They bought and sold jewelry, but they only dealt in fine watches and things like that. I walked in there, I gave them the Rolex, and I got like $3,500 on the spot. So it was worth more, but I needed that money and I was able to pay my mortgage. Investing in fine jewelry, it's a good thing because you can flip it when you need to. It's not always about hanging on to this stuff forever. It's just creating an asset that you can turn into cash really fast. And that is what I did over the years to get myself out of a couple of prickly situations financially. I am no stranger to knowing what it's like as a small business owner. There's no one that knows better than me when things can turn upside down very quickly and put you in a precarious situation financially. And sometimes we need loans. The fact is, emergencies happen when it comes to money. We just never know. We just never know when we're going to need extra cash. But fortunately, we do not always have to give up a pink slip or sell a watch in order to do that. That's where 247pay.net comes in. 247pay.net was created to help consumers access loan money in a safe way. So what you do is you provide your information to 247pay.net, and they act as a bridge between you and many lenders. The loans for 247pay.net are for emergency needs when there is no other option and you need money ASAP. The fact is, we just never know when we are going to be pressed for cash. We all think that we have all of it figured out, and it might appear that way for many people, but I have seen so many financial disasters happen to those that had everything planned out perfectly. It just happens. You can receive from $100 up to $5,000 the next business day. All you need to do is click the link in the description and check out the website. And I want to thank 247pay.net for sponsoring this video. And I hope that what I said would give you inspiration to keep moving forward if you're in a really difficult financial place. I totally get it, but you can get through this, and you do need to have faith to get you through this. I don't see any other way. faith for me is everything, and it is exactly what I use to get through rough times in the past, and I will in the future go through. And hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. I hope to see you again soon. Bye now.
Right after uploading this video to YouTube, I went to Twitter and I found this tweet. I want to read it to you. Since arriving in Canada, I've met 2 families hosting Ukrainian refugees. The stories are heart-shattering. One family, they were self-made multimillionaires. They built houses and furniture, owned many properties, lived in a 4,000 square foot home. They had 3 hours to leave. They are broken. Everything they built, worked for, owned, investments, money, securities, gone. Dust. He is 57, once the founder of more than 5 large companies, employing hundreds, leader in his local church and community, left in 3 hours with nothing but a suitcase. They are here now, living close by in a rented trailer for a couple of weeks. They are penniless. The community here has embraced them. I'd love to say it's a sweet story of community love, but it's not. It's tragic, terrifying, and horrific. The only reason why I'm reading this to you is just to bring the point home that we never know what can happen to us when it comes to money. We never know what can happen because we're not 100% in charge of it. That's the real truth. In times like this, all you can do is keep the faith.